Jai Hind, this is Brigadier Hemant Mahajan. We carry out a security scan for the week that ended today. A lot of important activities have taken place around the world which has an effect on India's national security. We will cover them one by one. Let us first see as to what happened in the neighborhood. Now, today, as far as Make in India is concerned, it is making a lot of steady progress. And Germany's Vice Chancellor, who will be on a visit to India later this week, has already said that Germany wants to start government-to-government deal on joint manufacturing of submarines. This is a very good news because Germany is a leader as far as manufacturing of submarines is concerned. And if we manufacture them, we will definitely have an edge as far as the submarines are concerned. And we are all aware that today our submarine fleet is down to minimum. The next issue is participation of private industry into various Make in India projects. The Godrej Aerospace has been given to manufacture 8 modules of DRDO's turbo engine. Good news because Godrej Aerospace has a good track record as far as manufacturing is concerned, and the induction of private industries will speed up all the projects. The next information is about Bharat Electronical Limited, who have signed a memorandum of understanding with the DRDO for Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft Program. Again, the BEL has a good track record, and their coming into aircraft manufacturing will definitely speed up the whole issue. They are also going to start what is called as the light replaceable unit or the local repairs of various items that will be manufactured. The Bharat Dynamics Limited has also received an export order worth 255 millions from the United Kingdom company, and they will manufacture laser-guided rocket bombs and the other components. Next issue is that is an industry called Axis uh, Sedes Technologies, which is partnering with the Mangal Industries of Amara Raja Group, and they're going to service the global clients on aerospace, defense, medical, and heavy engineering equipment. They also have a signed an MOU of the same understanding. The next issue pertains to our External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, who's had an interview with the ANI, in which he talked about many issues. But what is more important is that he talked about the most important part, that is opposition alleging that we have lost some areas to China, etc., which is absolutely false. We have not lost any area as far as China is concerned. He also had slammed George Soros and millionaire who is basically uh, carrying out lot of anti-India activity and is funding lot of anti-India activities in India also. The next issue pertains to the Khalistanis. The national investigation agencies have carrying out a search in many places, and they have arrested a lot of people while carrying out raids. There are people, criminal gangs, especially in Punjab, who have now moved out to Pakistan, Canada, Malaysia, Philippines, and Australia, from where they are carrying out terror and criminal activities in association with criminals who are lost in the jail. They must be caught and they must be put in the jail. Next issue pertains to external security. There is a report that China's influence war activities in India are only increasing. And it says that basically China uses the print media, the social media, etc., to influence various issues in our country. And they have embarked on a very wide strategy to enter the local politics, the local discourse of the society, online discussions, universities, seminars, media, etc. And for that, China is using media and the information tools. This must be kept under watch. And also, China has two agencies. One is called the United Front Work, which is their major intelligence agency, and secondly, the Chinese Communist Party. So they carry out a lot of operations to build influence with the Chinese diaspora, foreign politicians, businessmen, and universities. We have to we have to ensure that this is kept under watch. Okay. The next issue is sale of BrahMos missile to the Southeast Asian countries. We have been talking about it for a long time, but when will it take place? Nobody is sure at this point of time. But if this happens, when this happens, it will be ensured that we rise in the state of in the list of nations which are exporting their arms goods to the neighboring countries. We have to do it fast because our imports, while they are reducing now, but the exports are not increasing at the rate at which they are supposed to increase. The next issue pertains to the Indian Army Agniveer recruitment. The Agniveer recruitment, they have changed it slightly now. And what they have done is that there are three components of the Agniveer. One is the physical test, second is the medical test, and third is the written examination. Now, what Army has done is they have said that they will carry out an online written test first. People who pass from there then will be called for physical examination and the medical test. This will ensure that the huge crowds that appear for army recruitment do not come because at times it creates a law and order problem. Now, when you do an examination online, people have to understand that recruits who prepare for the examination, the Agniveers, they have to be internet savvy and they have to be capable of being able to apply for this examination online and appear for the examination online. So this must be practiced. The next issue is China's gray zone aggression, which it carries out. There are issues that the Chinese balloons are well known. In fact, there was a report in between that the Chinese balloons were also seen on the islands of the Andaman and Nicobar. The next issue is that the Indian Air Force has written a new doctrine about how the aerospace power should be used. However, this doctrine has to be seen by the National Security Council, which has to be seen by the Cabinet Committee for Political Affairs, etc., and to see if this doctrine is fit to be used in the Indian context. The next issue is that Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, or in short called as the IPEF, has been launched by President Joe Biden in May 2022, and it will definitely strengthen relationship between India and the USA. The 14 nation countries who are a part of it will improve economic cooperation between them, and India needs to be a part of it as early as is possible. The next issue pertains to the information security. There are reports that a very wonderful platform called ChatGPT is also being used by the cyber criminals to carry out certain criminal activities. Now, how exactly can they misuse this platform should be studied and counteraction taken to ensure that this useful platform is not misused by the criminals online. The next issue pertains to Dr. Jaishankar, who has commented on George Soros. He said George Soros, who expressed his views on India. George Soros is an old opinionated person in New York who thinks that his views should determine how the entire world works. Such people actually invest resources in shaping the narrative. People like him think that if elections is good, if people they want to see wins, if the election throws up some different outcome, then they say the democracy is flawed. And this is being done under the name called open society. Now this obviously is wrong. George Soros is definitely inimical to India, and all his inimical activities in India need to be stopped. Now next issue is lot of countries in the world are today countering China's multi-domain war. Many activities are taking place I'll just mention a few of them. First was our diesel submarine INS Sindhu Kesari has reached Jakarta for a maiden operational turnaround while transiting through the Sundra Straits. Now, Indian warships have been visiting Indonesia and the other Asian countries, and this is the first long-range deployment of a submarine. It shows the operational capability and the reach of India's underwater combat arm. India has put up a question in the United Nations Security Council whether the present composition of United Nations Security Council is it adequate to meet the needs of 21st century. It is based on a 1945 World War construct and has to be changed, which is very right. India has to be given a place in the United Nations Security Council. The next issue pertains to the cyberspace. Attacks on the cyberspace are increasing. United States as ensuring that the chips technology, the semiconductor technology, and many other technologies, they should not be shared with China because it is well known that China is enemy number one of the entire democratic world. The next issue pertains to China's debt, which it has given to Pakistan. Pakistan is today sinking under this debt, which is very, very bad. It has to be ensured that Pakistan is able to survive. In fact, no country today is willing to help Pakistan. The next issue pertains to Canada. They are saying that recently lot of balloons were seen over their area and they have a right to shoot it down. The next issue is that the technological companies like the Google, the Microsoft are holding a conference in Munich in West Germany, and they say that big technology companies will provide high-end technology to Ukraine to guard its cyber boundaries and win the information war. In fact, the role of private technological companies has been very important as far as Russia and Ukraine war is concerned. And Russia, despite all its technological competence, has not been able to breach the cyber boundaries of Ukraine. The next issue pertains to a funeral of Bashir Ahmad Peer, an Pakistani terrorist, a Kashmir terrorist settled in Pakistan for last 14 years. He was shot in Pakistan's Rawalpindi. When his funeral was held, it was attended by Hizbul Mujahid chief Sayyid Salahuddin, and Sayyid Salahuddin was being protected by the Pakistani army. Now one knows that it's only the VIPs who are guarded by the police and the paramilitary forces. Pakistani army seems to be guarding only one VIP, that is Sayyid Salahuddin, who is actually a terrorist. This shows as to how important Sayyid Salahuddin is or how important terrorists are as far as Pakistan is concerned. The next issue pertains to the Chinese crackdown on the dissenters which wanted the zero COVID policy to be stopped. Today, nearly hundreds of such people are missing, showing that dissent is just not tolerated as far as China is concerned. The next and the last issue pertains to 1 year of Russia-Ukraine war. Now, United States Secretary Anthony Blinken has warned China that should China provide material support to Russia, it will be considered as an inimical act. Not only USA, but the Europe has also warned China not to supply arms to Russia. It will be taken as an inimical action. Also, why the Ukraine war has been going on very badly as far as Russia is concerned, but the Russian defense chief has still kept his job despite being incompetent on the military front. This is because he is a blue-eyed boy of Shri Putin, and he is the one who has helped Putin in various issues. So, despite his military incompetence, he has managed to survive simply because he is important to Putin. Okay. The next issue pertains to a very brief summary of the Russia-Ukraine war. When Russian President Putin ordered invasion of Ukraine on 24th February last year, he started a war that has killed thousands of people, ravaged cities, destroyed country's economy, and according to the latest estimate, more than 180,000 Russian soldiers and more than 1 lakh Ukrainian troops have been wounded or killed in the conflict. The Western sources say that the casualties are even higher. Now, remember, in Afghanistan, just about 15,000 Soviet soldiers were killed and Russia withdrew from Afghanistan. But now Russia is not willing to withdraw from from Ukraine despite losing casualties which are almost 10 times more. Now Russia is using its private armies. Russia is using its convicts who are in the jails, etc. Russia is putting pressure on the Wagner army to do something worthwhile. So therefore, the Wagner army, a paramilitary group, or call it a private army, which has been carrying out lot of activities today, is falling short of recruits and it's not able to do the job that it is supposed to be doing. So therefore, the war has gone off very, very badly for Russia. Now, as far as India is concerned, India has managed to carry out, ensure that its national interests were protected in this war. I just mentioned 3 points. Number one is it was able to evacuate nearly 26,000 students from the Ukraine war zone, which was very, very commendable. Ukraine war resulted into world food security problems. India was able to handle it well because it kept the food prices and the inflation under control and also exported large quantity of food grains, uh, thereby helping the farmers to get a better price. The war also resulted into world energy security crisis, but India handled it very well, kept the prices of petrol and diesel under control, and not only that, we imported a lot of crude from Russia, refined it in India despite opposition from the Western world, and then we exported the petrol and diesel not only to Europe but also to the United States of America. The India was able to handle its relations with the Western world as well as with Russia in a balanced manner, and it is felt that if at all the war is going to end in a short while, India's role in this will be very, very important. Today, the whole world, including the United States of America, Europe, China, is going into recession, and India is the only bright spot in the world economy, registering a growth of 6 to 7%. So, all in all, the Ukraine war, which is completed 1 year now, has been handled very, very well as far as India is concerned, and we have ensured that India's national interests were protected even during this very difficult time. I'll stop here. Thank you and Jai Hind. Anjali, I stopped.